Hi, my name is B. Vargas, and my favorite thing is powerlifting.
Welcome to the Finding Favorites podcast, where we explore your favorite things without using an algorithm. Here's your host, Leah Jones.
Hello and welcome to Finding Favorites. It's, for me, Thursday, October 20th. I'm about to pack an overnight bag and drive to Crystal Lake for my mammogram. And then I'm going to stay in the suburbs with friends and see my oncologist tomorrow. It's my 6-month checkup. That was supposed to happen in August. It got pushed again. So I'm finally getting my mammogram and catching up with my oncologist for the first time since February. Then I'm going to hop on a plane and go to New York, where I've got tickets to see Here We Are, the new and final play by Stephen Sondheim. Maybe it's a musical. I don't actually even know. I don't know anything about it, except a friend who's a Broadway actor said it's one of the most interesting things happening in New York right now. And then I'm going to Brooklyn to see How Did This Get Made? And then coming back to Chicago. This has been truly a brutal 10 days since Hamas invaded southern Israel. An act called a pogrom. In Jewish history, a pogrom is when a Jewish city, town, village is just overrun and people are murdered. It is an act of war that we've seen in countless wars. I think what is maybe hard for people who aren't Jewish to understand is that imagine if either everyone who died from COVID died on the same day, how we'd all be looking around in America and everybody now knows someone who died of COVID, or got long COVID, but those deaths have been stretched out over 3 years. And so we don't have this like collective understanding of this collective trauma we've been through. It's not the same thing, but it's the only way I can think of to explain how connected and small a country Israel is, that there's not a single person in Israel untouched by what happened on October 7th. And by extension, Jews around the world, because it's such a small and deeply connected community, also have, the first few days I was like, okay, like my inner circle, my first circle is physically safe. But then I learned my dear friend Zohar, who led my trip to Poland in 2019, who I've done storytelling events with, the drag show I saw when I was in Israel this summer, his niece and sister-in-law were kidnapped. My friend Shai, another friend that I see every time I go to Israel, he has also had a number of young people that he has watched grow up who are kidnapped or died at the music festival. So I've just really been sitting in the heaviness and the grief of that event, keeping up with the news, keeping up with my friends, keeping up with my synagogue, trying to keep my synagogue community physically safe, trying to understand how can the hostages be freed, and a ceasefire and a peaceful resolution, trying to have the type of imagination it takes to get to that future. And it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to find hope right now. But I'm going to keep doing the podcast. I'm going to keep talking to people about their favorite things. I am officially going to go to a twice a month. I'm going to follow what my friends at Upper Middle Brow Podcast do, which is a podcast every other week, which is easier to keep up with editing. I'm looking to hire a professional editor. So also 2 episodes a month is more affordable than 4 episodes a month. now that student loans are coming back online. So yeah, so this is coming out on Sunday. I'm recording this intro on Thursday. I recorded this interview with B 3 or 4 weeks ago. So there's no hint in our conversation about current politics. And I can't imagine that I'll be talking to my guests much about politics unless they come on as a political expert, but that's not really what I do here. Just know that I'm checking in with my friends in Israel regularly. It's a country I've been going to since 2006. It's a place where I have a lot of people that I love, a lot of friends, a chosen family, a place where I have a lot of great memories, a country that I want the best future for. I want it to have a government that is democratic and pluralistic. I want citizens to have civil rights. I want everyone there to have civil rights, not just citizens. And it's a place, it is the country I have visited most in the world. And sometimes I wonder, if I hadn't converted to Judaism, would I have found another country? Like, would I have become an Anglophile and somebody who goes to London every year and just really knows London and has a bunch of people there? Would I have become more of a world traveler and have, in the 14 trips I made to Israel, would that have been like 14 different countries? I don't know, because it's not the way my life went. So in the short term, I'm going to get a mammogram. I'm going to talk to my oncologist. I'm going to hopefully get a clean bill of health. I'm going to go to New York, see some art, see some comedy, hug some friends, maybe have a nice bagel, and continue to pray that the hostages are released without further bloodshed. I got my COVID booster. This is the first one that didn't completely destroy me. So boosters are available. They're much easier to get at Mariano's than Walgreens. If you're in Chicago, go to Mariano's. And with that, wear your mask, wash your hands, and try to enjoy your favorite things. Hello and welcome to Finding Favorites. I'm your host, Leah Jones, and this is the podcast where we learn about people's favorite things and get recommendations without using an algorithm. I'm very excited. Tonight I am joined by the wonderful B. Vargas. B is the current reigning Ms. Illinois, North America, and also a dear friend of my friend Ezra, my upstairs neighbor. And as soon as he met B at their tennis club, he was like, Leah, you have to meet her. You have to meet her. And so, I don't know, a year later, it's finally happening.
Yes.
B, how are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Excited to finally be doing
Yes.
this.
I got, I'm just going to blame it all on Mercury retrograde. It really hit my calendar sideways. Like every single thing I had planned for the last 6 weeks was just like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I am right there with you. So I too am going to blame
Yeah.
Mercury.
So you also have another Instagram called All Bodies Are Gym Bodies, which is why Ezra said, you have to get to know B. And it's this fabulous account where you just post about going to the gym, but you're not like a thin yoga person.
Yeah, no, nowhere near that. No aspirations to be that either.
How did you, it's a huge question, but how did you get there?
Oh man, that is a huge question.
I could go with some easier questions first and warm up to that.
No, look, just Who needs
Right?
softballs? Lobbing the little, just throw the questions right out there. Um, no, so my fitness journey that I call it started in 2016, and it's kind of just snowballed into this complete lifestyle.
Okay.
And when I started, I will say it was all about being thin
Mm-hmm.
and losing weight. And I mean, there was some like, I need to be healthier. I was in a very like toxic relationship. It was a very bad place in my life. And so I'm like, I, allowed myself to get to a point where I was just wasn't happy with not just my body, but just my life in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, I need to lose weight, and the doctor's like, how they love to scare you with
Yeah.
anything and everything. Um, and so I lost a bunch of weight. I had weight loss surgery and I lost like 225 pounds.
Wow.
And um, and then when I got to the weight that I thought I would be happy at, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I hate it.
Mm.
I just couldn't stand how I felt
Yeah.
when I was like, this doesn't feel like me. I felt like I was like trying to be a version of B that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay. So then I gained a little weight back. I started weight training and
Mm-hmm.
lifting even more. And then COVID hit.
Right.
COVID hit, and then at the same time COVID hit, I got into a relationship. So, it was COVID and love weight all just in
Mm-hmm.
one beautiful package.
Yeah.
And I was kind of
In
like,
a very cozy
oh,
package.
very cozy package. And I was kind of like, fuck it. Oh, wait, can we curse?
You can curse, yes.
As I drop the F bomb, and then I'm like, wait, I'm like, I actually love where I'm at. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I felt comfortable. It was like the first time that I ever felt comfortable, like in my body and who
Yeah.
I was. And I was still working out like crazy and running half marathons and running
Mm-hmm.
10Ks and lifting. And I just had a bigger body. And
Mm-hmm.
it was so empowering. I mean, people's comments weren't empowering.
Sure.
Um, and people are like, you're constantly working out, but you're still fat. And I'm like, yeah, and
Yeah.
I love that now. Fitness can be very toxic. The fitness life can be very toxic, but I love that right now people are starting to realize, hey, people don't just work out to be thin. Like we're working
Right.
out to have a healthy lifestyle, and healthy is different
Right.
for everybody and healthy looks different on everybody.
Yep.
And so then I was like, you know what? I want to show other women that they can be a badass in the gym no
Yeah.
matter what their size is. And so I kind of started all bodies or gym bodies just
Mm-hmm.
to, showcase like if I can do this, you can do this.
Yeah.
Take off the shirt, wear the sports bra in the gym, wear the little shorts, wear the,
Yep.
like get your workout in and feel good about yourself. And who cares what anyone else says? Do you?
Yeah. And
So,
then with that, you also do some event planning, right?
yeah, so I've done a few yoga events in Chicago. We just ended our contract. We were doing yoga here in the city at Happy Camper in Wrigleyville. So we
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. We did that every Monday on the rooftop, and it was so amazing.
Nice.
Um, so I just love doing that. And then I partnered this earlier this summer with, have you heard of Swipe Fat, the podcast Swipe Fat?
No.
Another two girls. It's about dating wild
Oh,
plus size and fat. And so
yeah.
we collaborated and we did a fat girl yoga in the park event earlier this summer. So like it was so amazing. I love doing stuff like that.
That
Um,
sounds fantastic.
yeah, and then what's kind of in the works for next year for me is I'm trying to do a Fat Girl Wellness Day. So
Mm-hmm.
just bringing, all of us amazing women together and just like having yoga together, bringing in a speaker, just having us be together and celebrate our bodies and do this. So that's kind of in the works for next summer.
Nice. I will have to get you introduced. My friend Naomi, um, she just did like a 6 week Zoom yoga class that was fat, sweaty
Oh my
yoga,
God, I love that.
where she was like, I just want to really feel like I'm getting grounded, getting in my body, but also that it's like everyone's doing what they can do. And so it was called Fat Sweaty Yoga. And had I not, I tore my rotator
Oh
cuff doing God knows what.
no.
So I was like, I don't think yoga's quite where I'm at right now, but I really loved the idea. And she's fat, but
I
she's like 6 foot tall,
I
and
love it. I love
yeah.
that these communities are we are kind of making our own pockets in these communities
Mm-hmm.
because if they're
Yeah.
not going to accept us, like we're just going to do it ourselves. I mean,
Right.
because, I don't care what you say. You're not gonna. I've been to so many yoga classes where I felt so out of place and so,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't say anything to me to make me feel bad, but there's the
They don't
look,
have to say
there's
anything.
the okay, like, are you sure you can do this? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I can do the movements just like all the girls in the class in this big
Right.
body. Um, so yeah, I love that we're kind of just making our own spaces, how we want.
That's a, yeah. It's outstanding. What else keeps you busy in Chicago? I mean, that's a lot.
I mean, yes, that keeps me busy. Oh God, I mean, training. So like training for
Mm-hmm.
power. I'm also a power lifter. And
Amazing.
so training for that takes up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I wouldn't want it any other way. Powerlifting in the gym
Yeah.
is my happy place and I love
Yeah.
it. So that takes up a lot of time. I love brunch. I haven't done brunch in so long. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I need to get back on that, but this
Yeah.
summer it's been a very, very crazy summer between powerlifting competitions, beauty pageants, doing my, Ms. Illinois duties. I got
Mm-hmm.
engaged this summer. I thank you.
Congratulations.
Then we're like, oh, there's a baby coming.
Wow.
So it's been the crazy.
2023 is your
And it
year.
wasn't even the full year. It was from like
Right.
May to August. It's like all happening in like a span of a few months. So
Wow.
it's been a very, it's, yeah, so I've been very busy. I've been very busy.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, this is great. I'm so glad Ezra introduced us and we finally made time to
Yes.
talk. But B, I'm curious, what's your favorite thing?
Powerlifting. 100%.
Powerlifting.
100%. It is my favorite thing.
I'm going to tell you what I know about powerlifting and you're going to
Okay.
correct me. You can fact check me. One, I know it's really good for your bones, right? Like, weightlifting is really good for your
Yes.
bones. So it's important for women to
Yes.
do. And I love any TikTok of a woman lifting an amount that makes the dudes in the gym do triple
Yes.
takes.
And that is kind of how I started.
Yeah.
It makes, I know this is probably terrible to admit, but it is, there's just something so beautiful about loading a bar with a ton of
Mm-hmm.
weight next to a man that has
Yeah.
less than half of the weight that I have on my bar. And
Yeah.
it's like, we all start somewhere, honey. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just like, I think it's just for so long, society and men have been like, this is not sexy. This is not a woman's thing. Women shouldn't be doing this. They
Mm-hmm.
should stick to what they know, being pretty, and
Right.
I'm just in there just throwing these weights around.
Yeah. When did you move from like I'm lifting weights because it's part of my gym routine to powerlifting? Like I guess I don't know like what's the difference between just doing weights and powerlifting?
So powerlifting is all about technique and like the
Okay.
competitions with it. And
Okay.
so it's basically, so it's the three lifts. It's like it's deadlift, bench press, and squats. Those are the three
Okay.
lifts that go into like powerlifting competitions.
Okay.
And
So the squat is the bar is already like up high and you get it on your
yes, so the
shoulders?
bar is up, you go under it, it sits on your shoulders, you squat it down and bring it back up. The
Okay.
deadlift, it's on the floor, you bring it over your knees, and
Yep.
then the bench press, you're on the bench and you're pushing it up.
Okay. All
Yeah, so
right.
those are the three lifts. There's more when it comes to like Olympic lifting, but I don't, that's like super
Mhm.
intense. I'm not ready for that.
Okay. Okay. And have are you competing in
I am.
powerlifting?
I actually was supposed to have a competition in October that I
Mhm.
unfortunately have to put off because of the baby. I
Mhm.
mean, I could still do it, but the first trimester of pregnancy puts you on your ass. And so I have
Yeah.
not been keeping up with my lifts and hitting my numbers. So, the
Mhm.
baby's kind of put me out of commission for competing.
Yeah.
But I am very excited to get back to it next summer. Like I am gonna just
Yeah.
come back harder and stronger. But I'm still training. So even though I don't have a
Yeah.
competition, I told my coach, I'm like, look, I cannot lose any of this progress. I can't lose this
Right.
muscle that I've, tried really, really hard to grow, and the strength
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So, we're still lifting. I'm still in the gym, just trying to do what I can. Um, but oh, it's such an amazing rush. It's such an amazing feeling. And feel I've never felt more feminine, beautiful
Mhm.
than when I'm lifting. And I know that sounds
Yeah.
crazy to some, um, but it's truly like I'm a woman, hear me roar moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious where does powerlifting and pageants overlap?
I know it's kind of a weird, they're kind of like two very ends of the spectrum. Um,
Right. Well, and they're like two stereotypically two different types of
yes.
bodies,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, very much so. It kind of started last year. I made myself promise that in 2023 I was going to put myself, I was going to take myself out of my comfort zone. I was going to do something, that was
Mhm.
different, that was exciting, that, made me push myself. And
Okay.
I have a friend of mine, and she's a beauty queen, and I've been watching her do her thing for years. And she used to
Mm-hmm.
hold the title that I hold now. And so
Okay.
I was telling her, like, oh, I wish pageants had more body diversity and, racial diversity. And it's pageantry is changing. It really is. Again, women are kind
Right.
of forcing it and creating pockets for themselves. Um,
Yeah.
and she was like, you're right, there should be, you should join. And I'm like, no, that's not what I was saying.
Right. No, no, no. I was saying for other
I
women.
was like, no, 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 no. Like other women should be the diversity
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just got to thinking more and more of it. And I'm like, I cannot sit here and tell women to do these things and they can do it all and we need more diversity if I'm not willing to do it myself. If I'm not willing to be
Yeah.
uncomfortable, if I'm not willing, to put myself out there. And
Sure.
I'm like, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I'll see. And then I was on TikTok one day and I saw a video of a woman powerlifting. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
nope, never mind. I don't need beauty pageants. Powerlifting is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like this. And so I kind of
Yeah.
fell into that, hired a coach. And my friend was still like, so I gave them your name.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're expecting you to apply and, they'll reach out to you for the beauty pageant. And I'm like, what? So that's kind of how I fell
That's a
into
good
both of
friend.
it.
Wow.
So it's kind of interesting. My beauty pageant coach says that I lift um, barbells and ball gowns. That's like her catchphrase
Mm-hmm.
for me, and I was like, that's pretty
Okay.
good.
Amazing. So it was you were challenging yourself, get outside of your comfort zone, and you had two paths and you did them both.
Yes, I just converged the paths into one
Yeah.
path. Wasn't the plan. And my fiance's like, you would
Yeah.
choose to do two very difficult things at the same time. He was, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
ADHD.
Yeah.
We're
Mm-hmm.
like, we can do this, I can do
Yep.
it all. And then we do it and we're like,
Yeah.
oh shoot. I put too much on, I may have girl bossed a little too hard. Yeah, just,
A little too
yep,
close to the
yep.
sun. Um, so what was powerlift? So you see it on TikTok and you're like, that's what I'm going to do. So then how did you find a coach? Did your gym have some power lifters
Oh,
at it? Or did you have to go, like, how do you even start
I
that
actually
process?
had no idea. I'm like, okay, I want to do this. How do I do this? So I just started
Right.
Googling like powerlifting gyms, Chicago. Just like,
Yeah.
okay. And there's a lot of powerlifting gyms here. I've actually been to some of
Mm-hmm.
them to like work out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know, those are too intense for me. Like, I'm a beginner. These are like
Right.
hardcore powerlifting, like
Yeah.
muscles on muscles. And I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was talking to a girlfriend of mine who she works at my gym. And I was like, I'm looking for a powerlifting coach. And she's like, wait, I know a powerlifting coach. Let me reach out to her. She reached out to her, was like, yep, she
Nice.
does it. Here's her information. So then I reached out um, to my amazing coach, Christy, and she was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do it. And she's a power lifter. So I'm like,
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
she's strong. She's a bad bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite between deadlift,
Deadlift.
squat? Deadlift is your favorite?
Deadlift.
No question.
Deadlift is my ultimate favorite
Yeah.
lift. I don't know. There's just something about it. Just does something to me. Has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What have you maxed up to?
I've maxed up to on my deadlift three. Oh my God. What did I want to say I did 325 on the deadlift
That's amazing.
at my competition. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was a PR. I'd like hit a PR at my first
Nice.
competition, and that was amazing.
Do you just get one go at it?
No, you get three goes for
Okay.
each lift.
Okay.
So everyone, it was crazy, like going to my first competition and
Mm-hmm.
trying to, we drove 6 hours away for it.
Whoa.
Yeah, we went on a road trip for this competition.
Wow.
I was the only one there from Chicago. I had driven the furthest, and they were like, "Wow, you really wanted to come here."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was good. It was like down the street from my fiance's parents.
Mm-hmm.
He's from down there, so it was like, okay, we'll just make it like a weekend at his parents'
Great.
house. And so being there, it was you did your first lift, and I want to say our first lift was the squats.
Okay.
And so you were in order based on your starting weight, what you were
Okay.
lifting, what you were going for. And so when you start, you kind of want to start at what you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't try to go too hard. It's your first
Right.
lift, And so I was like, it's my first competition. I don't want to, I just want to lift what I know I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go your first round, you go, you lift, and then everyone goes their one time. So they go
Okay.
through the list. And then you go back for your second lift. So you do every lift three times.
Okay.
And it's very nerve-wracking, but you're also like really high on adrenaline,
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
Are you so you're doing your three passes of squats.
Yes.
Is every lift at that a little bit heavier?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Cuz they're
every
like there's some
lift,
cutting. People are getting cut.
yeah, so no, nobody's getting cut. Nobody's
Oh.
It's at the end. Basically there's judges sitting in front of you, and there's
Okay.
a screen behind you. And
Yeah.
each judge basically can say you passed or you failed that lift.
Okay.
Um, and so you have to get at least two passes out of your three tries,
Okay.
you know,
So
to,
so it could be like you're like my first lift is going to be at 200, and it's anyone who wants to start at 200 lifts first with you, and then they put two more plates on and it's at 220, and then the people who want to lift at 220 go like
no. Yeah,
no.
so let's say there's 10 girls. There's
Yeah.
10 women, and everybody goes. So one after another. But it's like, okay, let's say someone is starting at lifting 100 pounds. They would be the
Right.
first ones to go.
Sure.
And then whoever is lifting 300 pounds would be the last one to go. So
Okay.
100 pounds would go, she would lift, she'd get off the stage. The next person lifting 150 or whatever would go. So everybody goes.
Oh, okay.
It's
And then they
just,
take the weight. Then they take the weight off back down to 100.
and whoever started that first one, so the girl who started at 100, let's say she goes up to 120. So then she
Okay.
goes, so then it goes back in order of whoever went.
Oh.
Everybody lifts again. So then that's 10 women lifting again.
Okay.
And then for your third one, that's where everyone tries to get their PR,
Mm-hmm.
your personal best. This is
Yeah.
where, women are trying to get, state records. It's the third
Mm-hmm.
one you go for. That was exciting. I hit a PR on all three of them. And
Cool.
it was like, yeah, and it never feels like a competition, even though you're competing
Right.
for a place. It is just a room full of like love and support. Like
Yeah.
everyone is like, oh, that was a bullshit. that judge wasn't paying attention,
Yeah.
like even for like they're upset for you, or they're like, that was amazing, you kicked at, like it's such
Nice.
like everyone is there for everyone, and it's amazing.
And is it like boxing or wrestling where it's weight classes too, or is it just
Yes,
women of, is it
it's weight
age?
classes.
Okay.
Yep. So it's like it's age, and so my weight class was the 240 plus. It was like the 240 to
Mm-hmm.
280, so it was like what your weight class is where you were
Yeah.
in. So it's pretty,
Okay.
yeah,
That's awesome. I
it's kind
have
of crazy.
a woman I went to high school with lives in like Kentucky. And sometimes I feel like when the picture she has, she is so wrapped in like, things around her knee, things around her back, things. And
Yeah.
it just, to me, seems like, Joanna, maybe, maybe it's too much. I don't
No,
know.
they're all for
It's,
safety. It's
it's
all
all for
safety.
safety.
So it's
Okay.
all safety, and it's all keeping your body, your joints safe, your bones safe.
Yeah.
And so like the knee pad, so you have like the knee you pull on, and it helps kind of protect your knees when you're pulling really heavy weights. So
Okay.
you're not buckling, it keeps everything together. People like will you have a belt. It's your
Yep.
lifting belt. Everybody should have a lifting belt if you're
Okay.
lifting more than like 150 pounds, depending on
Yeah.
what you're used to. I put a belt on for anything over 200 pounds.
Okay.
For me, that's like, okay, that's some weight. Let me put this belt on to
Yeah.
kind of help my back not, I'm not a youngin' anymore.
Hmm. So it's the opposite of pushing through injuries. It
Yes,
is avoiding
it's
injury.
avoiding injuries. All of
Okay.
it is to help avoid injuries. Yep.
That makes me feel better because I was just like, it looks like you've hurt yourself. Why are you doing
No,
more? But
it's
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 all
so
for
we don't
protection.
it's so we don't hurt ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So you had PRs. It was your first competition.
Yeah.
Um and were you on track? Have you since broken those PRs, or do you think it was the adrenaline of the
I
space that helped you get there?
I have since broken two PRs.
Mm-hmm.
So I've hit 330 on the deadlift, and on the bench press, which is my weakest. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
weak with my dead or with my bench presses. I finally pushed past. Was it? I finally got to 145, and it it's just not my favorite.
Yeah.
It's like I see people pushing weight on the bench, and I'm like, kudos to you. Even at the
Yeah.
competition, everyone was like, I just want to get this over with. Like no one
Right.
was really there for the
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 bench.
bench press
Yeah.
is kind of like, okay, I'll do
It's
this.
sort of, bench press has like teenage football boy energy,
Yeah,
right?
it
Hey
does.
dude, what you bench? What do you bench? Right?
Yes.
It's just like boy energy.
And I'm like, nah, all of us women, we
Yeah.
were just like, we're all here for the deadlift. Like we just
Mm-hmm.
let's get, the deadlift is the very last lift you do. And so everyone's just
Right.
like, okay, okay, let's
Yeah.
get through it to get to what we want.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was very I basically just went to I'm like, I want to do this. It doesn't matter if I place, it doesn't matter if I just want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And I won second place
Ah, I love
for
it.
my division. And there's
Wow.
some weight to this.
That
Like
is a heavy duty
it is,
medal.
yeah. It's like I don't know if you could hear that, but
Oh, it's a beautiful sound.
it's like a real medal.
Yeah.
And so like I truly felt like a power lifter after. I
Yeah.
mean, even though I was, it's like this kind of
That
cemented,
really solidifies it. Yeah.
it solidified the fact it's like, oh my God, I'm an athlete, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
crazy, because
Yeah.
people look at my body type and they're like, you're not an athlete. And I'm like, no,
Right.
I'm an athlete. Athletes come in all shapes and sizes. Like, look at these
Yeah.
football players. Like, those are some
Right.
big boys, but they're
Yeah.
definitely some athletes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I couldn't do it. None of it.
No, no, no. So, yeah. And then I won an actual barbell, like a 45-pound barbell
Wow.
that we shoved in my boyfriend's BMW and drove 6 hours back to Chicago. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, what does the workout around powerlifting look like? Because I imagine you have to do more than just those three lifts.
Yeah. So that was, I think, the most surprising to me was I
Mm-hmm.
just thought you just do a shit ton of deadlifts and bench presses and
Right.
squats, and that's the workout, just
Yeah.
trying to go up. And it's actually the opposite. Like
Oh,
you do them, but
right.
the focus is also on the little workouts that make you stronger for these.
Mm.
So it's like, let's focus on this leg day because that's going to give you very strong legs to be able to securely squat and
Right.
focus on. So it's like rack pulls, which are, you stand at the rack and you kind of just stand up and you're just lifting the bar up and down,
Mm-hmm.
which, sounds like, oh, that's boring, but it's giving you back strength
Uh-huh.
and leg strength for you to be able to pick up the bar for a full deadlift. So
Okay.
it's like the little pieces to
Right.
bring the big lifts together.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, obviously that makes so much more sense.
Right. Right.
It's like if you're running, you're not just gonna start by running 10 miles. You're you know,
No.
you're gonna walk a lot
Right.
first. And that's essentially what, training for this is. It's a lot of baby steps to get
Yeah.
to the bigger, yeah, to get to the goal.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did powerlifting and pageants overlap enough that powerlifting was your talent? Or is talent a thing that happens anymore?
So some of the bigger pageant systems, like Miss America, they still do talents and stuff.
Okay.
I didn't have to do a talent, or
Okay.
it would have. I would,
Nice.
I probably would have deadlifted a cool
Right.
300 pounds on stage,
That would have been amazing.
you know. But I did use it as part of my story.
Yeah.
And the judges were like, what?
Yeah.
It's just funny because, like, me sitting here looking like this, or me in my everyday, like, just very not put together. Like, I don't wear a ton of makeup. I'm not. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just funny because it's like, people would never believe that I'm a beauty queen.
You're a
like
beauty queen.
like I'm their Ms. Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny because, like, then you're sitting there all dolled up like a beauty queen and you're like,
Right.
people would never believe that I'm a power lifter because I have 10 pounds of makeup on and my hair is perfectly curled
Right.
and I have this ball gown on. So
Right.
it's just so, I enjoy very much so doing and being things that people don't expect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect. I think for me, this has made me realize I can literally do whatever the fuck I want to do. Like,
Yeah, you can.
it's
Yeah.
like I I am doing it and I'm like, bitch, you can do this too. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you can do this. And it's really kind of life changing, which just sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous. Sometimes think like, okay, powerlifting and beauty pageants are life changing, but when you're a girl that's always grown up plus size and
Mm-hmm.
society has always made you feel less than and not as beautiful, and you've always tried to fit in and you've always tried to do this, the moment you realize that you're beautiful in your way, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be society's beautiful. You don't
Right.
have to fit into these stereotypes and nip and tuck and do all these things. Once you
Right.
accept yourself and love and have that confidence in you for you, not for other people,
Yeah.
it it's it, like it's just changed my whole life.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Um, so you said other. I noticed that you're Ms. Illinois,
Yes.
and you said in Miss America they do talent, but you're in the
Ms.
Ms.
Yes. So my age.
Okay.
Yes. I can't be a well, actually, so the Miss Universe just made an
Mm-hmm.
announcement last week that they have taken away all of their restrictions. So
Oh.
women of married, not married, women that have aged out of certain
Right.
can can do it now. And so like there was like a
Wow.
huge like like the pageant world was like last week. It was like huge pageant news.
Right.
Because like it's anybody can be a beauty queen, and that's what they're
Yeah.
trying to do. They're trying to, like, oh, you can't be a beauty queen because you're too old now. That's kind of
Uh-huh.
shitty.
So are you thinking about making a run for Miss Universe?
I have actually thought about making a run for the Illinois, the actual like
Okay.
Miss Illinois that goes to like
To
Miss.
Miss
Yeah, I
America?
thought about it.
Okay.
Um, I'm not I'm not sure yet. I have a
Yeah.
lot happening in the next year or
You
two.
do you mentioned, yeah.
Just a little thing. A baby.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend from college, Matt Hawley, who lived in Indianapolis for many years, but he and his husband are now starting to. They've moved up to Chicago and then they just commute to Indianapolis on like a few days a month to do their Indianapolis
Okay.
responsibilities. And I don't know how he got into it, but somehow he became a pageant coach.
Wow.
And he works at the IUPUI medical school. He's a professor there in medical ethics, and also he coaches Miss
That's
Indiana.
amazing.
Yeah. So in a couple years after the baby's here and you had your
Yeah.
wedding, you can just call
Yeah.
me back up and be like, Leah, I want your
I
coach.
actually have a pageant I'm already doing next July. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
gotta push this baby out and hope my dresses still fit.
Uh-huh.
So, that'll be exciting. Yeah.
Nice. Um, and does your powerlifting coach have how is she adjusting your workouts for like the first trimester, or
Oh
how is she
man,
being mindful of your
we've
pregnancy?
changed my workouts so many times in this first trimester. Um,
Yeah.
and thankfully, she has worked and trained pregnant women, so she knows exactly
Mm-hmm.
what she's doing. She's like,
Yeah.
I've, worked with women that were deadlifting on Wednesday and had their baby on Thursday. Like, you can Like, you're
Wow.
good. So I'm like, great. So this for working, training in this first trimester has been kind of non-existent. Yeah,
That's fair. You're growing a human being
I
with your
know. It's been
body.
so very hard, very, very hard. Like
Yeah.
I went from being at my gym 6, 7 days a week to
Mm-hmm.
once a week, if that.
Yeah.
There were weeks where those people did not see me. And,
Uh-huh.
and like I come back and they're like, "Where have you been? You've been here
Mm-hmm.
every day for 2 years." And now, like, what? And
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, I'm just really busy with work,
Just napping.
lots of napping." So
Yeah.
so my coach and I have had to work around that, and she's had to give me a lot of pep talks because I was like, who am I? Who Like, fitness
Yeah.
has been my happy place for so long, and it's kept me
Right.
sane for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It really coincides with like my therapy. Like
Yep.
it's part of my routine, and I really need that. And so it's been very hard to like just sit back, and you don't need to work out right now. You're
Mm-hmm.
tired, or do what you can. So like sometimes going to the gym is me
Yeah.
walking on the treadmill, which kills my soul
Sure.
because as a power lifter, I don't do cardio. I don't do that
Fair.
anymore. What is that? So, so like having to do cardio over lifting has been heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Um, but she's been like, do what you can. So like, I'll probably
Mm-hmm.
do like 2 out of the 5 set workouts for that day, just
Yeah.
moving. And she's taken out a lot of like the compound lifting because I'm just realistically like, just too weak for it. Um,
Yeah.
which also just breaks my heart.
What it what
So it's
does
like
compound lifting
taking
mean?
out the squats. So I haven't squatted in a long time. The last
Yeah.
time I squatted was maybe like a month ago, and
Mm-hmm.
150 pounds was a lot for me. So that's when I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck. I know it's
Yeah.
taking a lot out of me. So I'm starting to feel better. Like today, I did my
Mm-hmm.
full workout today, and I was like,
Nice.
yes, I did it. It may not be the same way tomorrow, but you do what you can. And she's working with me, and
Yeah.
she's, changed up a few things, and, added a lot more like secondary workouts. So we'll do like full body day
Mm-hmm.
instead of like deadlift day. So it's just like, okay, let's do some full
Sure.
body, focus on this a little bit more than this. And I guess it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. What would you say that women who are looking to try powerlifting, what advice would you give them?
Do it. Do it. Just do it. I would
Yeah.
first tell them to start weight training. You can't just jump into
Mm-hmm.
powerlifting if you haven't been weight training. There's a lot of
Right.
form you have to learn. And so if you
Mm-hmm.
already know that from weight training, it's easier to get into, the powerlifting. So like
Yeah.
get a trainer, do some weight training, get comfortable with the weights, see how you feel. And if it's something like you really want to do, then look for a powerlifting coach, not just a personal trainer. You
Mm.
need a powerlifting coach,
Right.
someone who is a powerlifter or was a
Yep.
powerlifter, so they know everything that goes into this. Because there's a lot that goes into it. There's
Yeah.
so many different organizations. I go with WRPF, so it's like World Raw Powerlifting Federation, but there's like so many different
Okay.
organizations that you can lift through. So a coach will like help you
Mm-hmm.
through that, help you pick the best. um, organization, the best lifts for you, or the best competitions for you, because they happen all
Yeah.
over the United States. Like I can go on WRPF.com, like online, and go to
Yeah.
competitions and look at a year's worth of lifts. I could just spend every
Mm-hmm.
weekend in a different city powerlifting if I want. I mean, you can't, that's very unhealthy, but
So cool.
if
Right.
I will hurt myself if I do that. But like, so yeah,
Right.
just weight train, make sure it's something you really want to do, something you can physically do. Um, because,
Mm-hmm.
if you have like really bad injuries, or, you probably shouldn't be doing that. And then get a
Yeah.
get a coach that knows what the fuck they're doing. And if you're a woman, get a
Yeah.
woman coach.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like, and there's a lot of us out there that, power lift. There's a lot of like female coaches, and they're amazing, and they can work around you and work with your cycle in a way that men don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I get so inspired like whenever it comes up on TikTok, or really that's where I see it. And some of my girlfriends have gotten into powerlifting over the last few years of just I kind of think it was if I think about this who it was like a reaction. It was at some level a reaction to Trump. It was like a way to
Yeah.
like get
I
control,
get, yeah, definitely
right?
understand that. Yeah.
Yeah. And empowering and you know, right now when they give me like a 1 pound dumbbell at the PT to like, or they give me a broomstick to just try and get some flexibility with my shoulder. So I'm not there yet, but I would love to be there again because like I swam in high school and for some reason the girls swim team lifted weights with the football team.
Oh,
Like we were in the weight room
that's great.
together. Yeah. So I loved nothing more than to like load up the leg press, right? Because I was swam backstroke and freestyle, and I was a sprinter. So I loved anything that was like that I could really like
Yeah.
load up the weights, and I had was like my legs were super strong, and that's the sort of thing when I think about like lifting, I'm like it felt
It
great to
is.
do. And it feels good to do. I was also the drum major of my high school marching band, and I would
Oh my
carry my
God.
podium, like wheel my podium out to the football field before practice every day because I was like stubborn. And I'm like, I don't need a
I
boy
can
to
do
do
this
this,
myself.
you know?
Yeah.
So I can do it myself. But it was like a welded, like they did it in shop. It was like a
Ooh.
welded iron platform. I did not need to be caring
You're
about
like, I'll
myself,
show
but I
you
did.
guys.
I'll show you. I have been there, but it was also
Hey,
25 years ago, so.
look. I look back on things that I used to
Yeah.
do, and I'm like, that was a good time. That was that life. Like,
Yeah.
I look back now and I'm like, how did I ever run the way that I ran? It's like I used to just
Mhm.
wake up and run 3 to 5 miles a day. And like
Oof.
Saturdays I'd be like,
No, thank you.
okay, this is my long run, and I'd run like 7 to 9 miles. And I'm just like, I look back
Wow.
at the other day I was looking at all my like my medals and my bibs and all that stuff, and I'm like, who was
Mhm.
she? Like,
Mhm.
wow. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, no, that was another life.
Yeah.
Just let me put these over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now me, I'm like, I hate cardio.
Yeah.
I don't want to walk. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's awesome. Is there anything about powerlifting that I haven't asked you about that you want to make sure to
Hmm.
mention?
Powerlifting is very, as much as it is about physical strength, it's so much more
Mhm.
about mental strength. than I think
Yeah.
people realize, and I think I realized,
Mm-hmm.
because on some of the lifts during training, I was just stuck at these numbers for the longest time, the same numbers, no matter how much I trained and how much
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could get it. And like in my head, there was still this block of, oh, this is
Right.
heavy. It's like, instead of, oh, I can
Mm-hmm.
lift this, it was, oh, maybe this is a little too much,
Yeah.
and it was
Okay.
the moment I got over that mental in my head of, I don't know if I can do this, to no, I can fucking do this, is when I started hitting PRs and going up steadily. And
Mm-hmm.
it is so much about mental. Everything we do is mental. It is mind over body.
Mm-hmm.
Your body can do
Yeah.
anything you set your mind to. And you just have to
Yeah.
train yourself to like get out of your head. Like, stop doubting yourself. Stop doubting your body. Your body can
Mm-hmm.
do this. You can do this, and just do it. And I
Yeah.
definitely had to learn that, but now that I know it, I know it.
Well, B, it has been a delight getting to know you tonight. I'm so
Yes.
happy we made this happen.
Same, same. I'm happy we finally got to do this.
Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
My little corner of Instagram is my personal Instagram is that B word, and B is BEE, and just like play. So that B word. You can also find me at All Bodies Are Gym Bodies. And then you can find me on TikTok at that B word. And my TikTok is basically my my full fitness. Like, it's basically all fitness and lifting and workouts on there.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. You can find Finding Favorites on Instagram and still on Twitter at Finding Faves Pod. You can rate and review 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Good Pods. If you have questions for me, you can email me findingfavoritspodcast@gmail.com. So, B, thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Finding Favorites with Leah Jones. Please make sure to subscribe and drop us a 5-star review on iTunes. Now, go out and enjoy your favorite things.